On the morning of Friday, September 20th, Mrs. Nichols passed away.
We interviewed a few staff members and former students to show just how much she meant to all of us.
What I loved about Miss Nichols was the joy that she brought when she was around other people, and how she always took care of others before she took care of herself, and how she just brought a lot of laughter when she was around other people.
What was your favorite memory of Miss Nichols?
I think one of my favorite daily memories was that she would see me down the hall and say, "Hey, Julian," and say my name that way, and always come over with a smiling face. And then the other favorite memory was one time we were at a bonfire in Jerry Moore's Woods for FCA, and she was going through some hard stuff, but she would always encourage everybody, because she would say, "You know, I know God's got me, and this life is short and temporary, but I know God's holding me, and you know, I know where I'm going when I leave." And that was always really inspiring to me, and even more so now that she has moved on to her forever life. So that's probably the best memory I have of Miss Nichols.
All right, thank you.
What's your favorite memory with Miss Nichols?
Probably it wasn't one single event, but every time we would converse coming into school or between periods or anything, she was always so upbeat and positive, even though the later years she was dealing with all the physical stuff. She was always so positive and upbeat, and that was probably the most significant thing I remember about her.
She only called me weirdo. She would text me and say, "Hey weirdo, I want pizza. Make me pizza and bring it over." So I'd have to make a Hawaiian pizza from scratch for her, because that's the only pizza she liked. And so last week she asked for pizza. She texted me out of the blue, and she said, "I have a business proposition for you to deliver pizzas." So I'm like, "Of course I'll bring you pizza." So I made her a pizza, and I took it over to her house, and she was sitting there, and they were saying she hasn't eaten any food in like a day or two. And she said, "I don't eat because I don't like to eat, but you have the power to make me happy. Because your pizza, when you make my pizza, is so good." And she ate like 3 pieces of pizza.
Wow.
So, yeah. Then, yeah.
All right, so what was your favorite memory of Mrs. Nichols?
My favorite memory of Mrs. Nichols was the relationship that she had with her students and her willingness to go above and beyond for any kid that ever needed anything. She wasn't just a teacher. She was a mentor, just somebody that was always in the kids' corners, even the kids that struggled in her class. She was always willing to go above and beyond to make sure every kid here was successful and cared for.
Such joy for her kids.
Yeah.
You know, like her daughters and like her family. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah. Exeter, what was your favorite memories of Miss Nichols?
I actually was the first faculty member here to get to know her. She came to me as a participation student when she wanted to teach business classes, and I agreed to take her on. And at that time, she'd worked in the business world for a long time, even though she had obviously Hispanic background and could speak the language, but she wanted to be a business teacher originally. So she worked with me then, and then when we had a Spanish opening, she applied for that job, and that was sort of how she got started here. I loved her spirit. I love her, just her genuineness. I admire her faith in God. And she would come by my room, and she had really strong hands, and she would give me little neck rubs, little neck squinchies, and I would go so nuts because it felt so good. And she would just laugh, and she's like, "You need to just calm down," because it just felt so good. And I would always try to con her into doing that. She went on a couple of field trips with me. We had a great time. she's a great soul, and I'm going to really miss her.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, what was your favorite memory of Miss Nichols?
One thing I really liked about Miss Nichols is I would always pop in her room and say, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" She would always respond with me, and it was just so neat that her and I, just kind of did that. And probably even more than that is the love of children, the teaching. She loved to teach, and to see her kids and students just go in there and, speak Spanish. That was probably the biggest thing, is her love for the kids and the way she loved to teach.
All right, so Ms. Gibson, what was your favorite memory of Mrs. Nichols?
I think when I first got here, Miss Nichols and I really hit it off because she also attended Eastside Church with us, and she didn't attend always, but I can always remember when we were together that she always had this faith that God was going to help her through whatever was going to happen, and that God had it. And that really set something for me, that even though during a trial or during stressful situations, that she relied so heavily on her faith. And the second probably part of that was the fact that she wanted to keep her life as normal as possible, even for her girls. And I think that was probably the best thing that I can remember from her.
Like story to tell here. It's just that she and I were prayer partners and got together pretty frequently. And so it was more that steady positive influence than anything else.